Many people get defensive or sad when they are criticized. In many cases, the workplace has no feedback culture in place, and people are not trained to give or receive criticism in a constructive manner. Giving and receiving negative feedback constructively takes a lot of practice. Luckily, there are some ways you can deal with critics that will not only silence them but also provide you with even more fuel for your creative fire. Hi guys, this is Prateek and welcome to Eclectic. Here we talk about our past, present and the future. However, in this particular series of short videos, we are going to focus on how to make our present better. So here are the ways to turn your criticism into inspiration. Turn the heat around. The best way to address someone who is giving you unsolicited and unhelpful criticism is to turn it back on them. Make it their job to prove themselves to you rather than the other way around. 99% of critics disappear when confronted with any kind of rigorous intellectual challenge. Why? Because their true aim is not to help you improve. It is to tear you down, or it is to find an outlet for their own jealousies and insecurities. Either way, it is not constructive to either you or them. When dealing with haters, it is perfectly okay to be arrogant. If you are confronted with a stupid comment attacking your work or your character in a nasty way, it does not help anything to get angry and start a flame war. Instead, try saying something like this: "It is interesting that you should say that, because my research seems to suggest that the opposite is actually true." And remember, when you say "my research," do not forget to mention some books or blogs you have read. Then ask your critic, "Is there some study or paper you can point me to which would validate your claim?" Bam! Hater gone. No one is going to attempt to seriously debate with you when you are so obviously prepared for an academic beatdown. Get inspired. The use of hatred as a creative inspiration has a long and illustrious history in the arts. In fiction, no dramatic story arc is complete without the main character overcoming some sort of adversity, typically in the form of harsh, unfounded criticism of his or her abilities. When you do your homework and challenge your critics in a polite, serious way, you can send most of them away. But it is also possible to generate more inspiration for your work. You can use the criticism of your past work to generate ideas for new projects. For example, researching a response to a critique may lead you to read about or experience something you never would have before, which can open the door for all sorts of new experiments in your professional or personal projects. In this way, I suppose even haters can offer you constructive criticism. Feel the love. Remember, for every mean or ill-informed critic, there are typically dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of people who will love and support what you do wholeheartedly. I know it is easier to focus on negativity because of human nature and all that, but there is really no reason to give much importance to your haters. It is possible that maybe your worst critics are your biggest fans. Well, obviously there is something they find interesting or compelling about you or your work, or they would not bother reaching out to you. When most people genuinely dislike something, they assess that they dislike it and they move on. But something about what you do is keeping these critics engaged. If you are so inclined or interested, you can try to figure out what it is, so that you can do more of it. Usually your critique will give you clues about what they are so obsessed with, as they will keep mentioning it or pointing out how intolerable it is. At the end, grab your silver lining. You cannot make everyone happy, but you can, however, make the best of your situation and aim to come up tops with the majority. I read this article on honkyard.com. If you want to enhance your creativity, be sure to check out honkyard.com. It is really a great place for creative people. On my channel, I make videos on our past, present and the future, which involves dealing with the history, philosophy, politics and the future tech. Go ahead, check out the playlist and videos that are already available. Subscribe if you find them interesting, and also I assure you that more interesting content will keep coming up. If it is possible for you, economically support my channel on patreon.com. Thank you all very much. See you soon.